While I have your valuable attention, within this video, I'm going to walk you through the process of escaping futility. I'll also unfold some transparency on my end of not living up to my own standards, and I'll also give you the tools to start living up to your own. To be honest, dog, I've always known that living the same way that everybody else lived just wasn't always ideal. And to be open here, I actually figured this shit out in the 3rd grade. I realized every time I walked out of this damn building, all the information that I obtained was completely exited from my brain. I came back, they taught me these useless things that I never even needed to know. Nobody believes me when I say that, but I can bring in my mom for this if you want me to.
Hello?
Hey, Mom.
Hey.
I just had a quick question.
Hey.
At what age did I start, or what grade did I start saying, F the school system and stuff like that?
Well, you really hated it in kindergarten as well. You didn't really have that much fun, but around grade 3 or so, it was when it was battle with everything.
Cool. Yeah, that was like the Christian school, right? Christian Academy.
Yeah, Christian Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was, I was at the office weekly.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. Told you. My belief system around all of that has yet to be proven, and honestly, I just came to the mere conclusion that this place, this society, whatever, west, east, north, fucking anywhere, is simply just meant to strip everybody away of anything that would have evolved into greatness. With that being said, let's start by unpacking the first pillar of the foundation of what a futile life entails. This is a common occurrence among us humans, and it's a concept that I like to call poor perceptions. You've most likely been in a confrontational situation before, getting yelled at, getting honked at in traffic, or someone just coming face to face and beefing your ass. I have too, and honestly, sometimes it could have just been the way I was getting stared at. And to be honest, there was a point in my life where I was overthinking and I had poor perceptions for the longest time. If I got stared at the wrong way or from a weird ass angle, I would think about it for hours, days, weeks, and sometimes months on end. You might honestly be able to relate to that, but if not, I know you've had some situation happen in your life where you just simply thought about it for way too long. As I've navigated through society, socially, psychologically, philosophically, and physically, I can see this problem within so many individuals, and honestly, it still is a deep-rooted problem that needs to be uprooted from the deep psyche within myself. And simply put, it's just having a very poor perception of the things that happen to you in your life. Again, this is kind of derived from that old ancient Stoic idea of only focusing on the things that you can control. And one thing I'll add on to that is that obviously there's a lot of conflict happening right now as this video is being recorded, with the Israel wars, etc., etc. And I may have my extreme beliefs on what this whole thing is and what it entails, but that's not what this video is about. The main idea behind what I'm talking about is that what big media wants to do and what big media, tech companies, Meta, all of them want you to continuously focus on things you can't control, because they know a mind that is focusing on the things within their control is a strong mind. So the more strong minds they can strip from society, the more they can impose their ideas, impose their beliefs, and kind of guide the psyche and the psychology in the direction they want it to go. So understand that you shouldn't be focusing on anything you can't control at all, nor should you even be preaching your opinions or joining other people to make it seem like you're not supporting or not creating awareness. But that's besides the point of this video. Back to the mindset of not focusing on the things you can't control. If you don't utilize this mindset, my dog, you're just gonna have a life of consistent stress and just resentment towards the world. And then what good does that bring? One thing that I'm starting to realize is the only thing holding any of us back from becoming the man or woman we want to be, or I say it's not even the only thing, it's one of the only things that are holding us back from becoming the man or woman we want to become, is actually just ripping ourselves of those psychological chains. I've touched on this before in my video of mental castration. I talked about it. I called them filters. We all have filters, but what's the issue here? The issue here is that we have faulty filters. They're faulty, and you need to fix it. Not everything that happens to you is an attack, bro. Not everything that happens to you is an attack. Nobody's out to get you, and honestly, if somebody is, then gather up enough responsibility and tell yourself, maybe, what did I do to deserve this? Did you do anything to deserve it? And even if you didn't, so what? You just simply accept your fate, you move on, bro. And I've adapted that mindset so much, and it's just given me so much levels of freedom that I can't even begin to explain, bro. I can't even articulate the mental freedom that I have in my mind, because I'm not attached to these ideologies anymore. The victim mentality. It's just a degenerative mindset to become a slave to your weak perceptions. I'm not gonna lie, obviously it's way easier said than done, because I still like have problems with this issue as well. But I mean, in this life, you either try, fail, improve, or stay the same. But as we know, self-improvement is kind of improving. You don't stay the same anymore, dog. You get worse. Literally. On a personal level, dog, I struggle with my perceptions, and I probably will until I'm 6 feet under. But at least I'm trying. Are you? I don't know. I don't think so. Clouded judgment. Personally, when I had a poor perception or a poorer perception than I do have now, it came with the inability to gauge whether I should rest or work, whether I should, eat junk food or eat clean, or I should watch entertainment or learn. In a nutshell, bro, it just clouded my judgment on what was progressive or what was digressive. As you could imagine, bro, I always chose the less progressive of choices, as I still do sometimes, but it was all because of my skewed perceptions, man. And my skewed perceptions drive me to think that I somehow deserved a reward when I did nothing to deserve it. Oh, yo, you recorded a video, you can rest, you can watch some movies. That's a poor perception. A very poor perception of what you did. But I want you to keep in mind that this perception of deserving more than you should can be a result of cultural indoctrination, but we'll get into that more, so stay with me. But with that mindset of thinking that I deserve more, it led to a lot of relapses, it led to a lot of binge eating sessions, and it led to a lot of just non-productive hours of my life. And then what did that lead to? Regret, hate, shame, and more self-degenerative routines. But here is the caveat to this. The habits got so bad to a point where I wasn't even ashamed of myself anymore. And that could be you. You see all this red pill ideology getting pushed, the self-improvement ideology getting pushed, and you know you do these habits that aren't doing you any good. But yet you're not even ashamed of yourself. But yet you don't even want to change. You're not even pushed and driven into action. Doesn't that raise an eyebrow? The lack of self-shame. We all know that feeling, man. You know, the feeling of breaking promises to yourself, eating the food you said you weren't going to eat, or wasting the time you said that you were going to use productively. It's horrible, man. It's shameful and it's confidence ripping. For real. But now imagine yourself breaking those same promises to yourself, wasting those same hours, eating those same shitty foods, but losing the self-shame that usually follows afterward. Some may see that as a blessing, as it kind of rents them of that self-responsibility, but people like you and people like me see that as a curse. Why? Dog, because what good is a life without having or losing the ability to pick yourself up of your ass after you're consistently degenerating your life? Yeah, a couple hours binging here, eating a little bit of junk food here might seem trivial at the moment, but it all adds up, bro. It all adds up. Either way, you'll just end up with a disproportionate amount of time spent on things that aren't productive. And do you want that, my G? Do you? Avoid self-hatred. Looking back at my own life and pondering on the hours that I didn't spend going after what I wanted or doing what I should have, I almost start to hate myself. The person you are in 5 years is simply just waiting for you to reach there, and they're just hoping that you have the eligibility to be them. The way I picture my life and the way I picture every single day you wake up, you merge into the next body. That next body or that next life or the future Gadako or the future you is expecting you to have done the correct things to make that person feel the same. And I feel the only reason that a lot of people are walking with a whole bunch of self-shame or lack thereof is because they're just continuously used to disappointing themselves. And just think about that. 5 years down the road, your future you was standing or waiting in front of your bed, just waiting. And how do you think they're going to feel when they realize, damn, you're the same you were in 2023? The most logical thing to do is fucking hate yourself. Isn't it? Sometimes I talk to myself, and I was struggling with this, problem for kind of 2 months ago, and I'm kind of getting over it now. But I used to literally have to sit there and ask myself, really question, how am I psychologically able to sit there for an hour, watch a movie, watch YouTube videos that aren't even really educational, watch other people build their own lives, or whether it be a YouTube video, whether it be sports or a movie or something. How am I able to do that? How am I psychologically able to watch another man build his life while mine exactly stays the same? How? I just simply refuse, dog. I refuse to sit there and watch another man monetize off of my attention while I have less than $10,000 in my bank account. And okay, you may see, but Gadako, like, I'm watching you right now. Should I just stop watching you altogether? I say that yes, and I say that no. Firstly, I say, obviously, there's value behind this video. So as long as you're not filling your mind with entertainment. I always say production over consumption, unless the consumption is driving you to start producing. Or giving you the tools to start producing. Then the consumption is justifiable. Otherwise, you're just wasting your fucking life. Self-hatred is the last thing I want, and it should be at the bottom of your list of desires as well. So with that in mind, From this day forward, dog, I'll continue to do as many of the things required to become the person I'm supposed to be in 10 years, simply just to avoid the waves of negative emotion that are gonna explode in my face if I don't. To take a little pressure off you and to take a little pressure off myself, I will say that not all of this inconsistency and inability to keep promises to myself or yourself is all your fault. Yes, we should take full responsibility, but there's always outside circumstances that play a factor in our lives. Do we blame them? No, we just take them into account. Let me walk you through what I mean. Stifled ambition. If you've ever gotten anything other than support in whatever new endeavor you're embarking on, then your ambition is somewhat being stifled. And yes, it may not be intended by the person not giving you the desired support, but usually internally you're going to be left feeling let down. But it's usually self-inflicted. It used to be me as well, bro. Like until I just simply stopped seeking validation and approval for what I wanted to do with my life, that's it. That's the mindset that you need to have. Stop seeking approval for what you're doing through life, whether it be in your Instagram feed or the likes. If you're going to post about your entrepreneurial things, post about it without seeking the digital validation, and just post about it because it's actually you. But do you want to get a reconfirmation on whatever ideas you have, or do you actually have those ideas? But it takes no fancy trick. Okay, if you want to get rid of that, always feeling let down or not having that support, just shut the fuck up about what you're doing in your goals. Only talk about it to people who actually care. The only validation that you should want is God's and your own. But now let's unpack the real dragon of stifled ambition. You're young, don't work so much, don't work so hard. You're not fat, and you have so much time ahead of you. If you're watching this video, you're probably very much like me. Aggressive, huge vision, and ready to get that shit now. As young men or women with that mindset, the rest of society will bombard us with these well-heard comments. And I'm going to be honest with you, if you haven't heard those comments, and I'm sorry, you might not be going hard enough. Or luckily, you're just surrounded by a whole bunch of people who actually have the same tendencies, which is good. So I'm not going to say that you're not going hard enough just because you're not receiving negativity. That's not usually how it is. Besides the point, psychologically, dog, we want to fit in with our tribe or our in-group if you're more of a psychology student. And especially from a young age, as you try to kind of step out of these ideological boundaries set by your tribe or by your in-group, that could be digitally or socially, you're going to just be punished to some sort of degree. And honestly, who wants to be punished? Thinking logically here, if you do something and then you get punished for it, you're just way less likely to do it again, especially if those results end up in social punishment, which is actually the worst of them all. Imagine if you walked into your lunchroom or you walked into your new workplace and you decided you wanted to sit down with these group of people and they got up as soon as you left. Social punishment, social rejection. That is the worst kind there can be. What I'm getting at here is that within our families, our friend groups, our digital echo chambers and algorithms, we make sure to walk on thin ice, avoid conflict, and only say or do what we're allowed to do. This tendency comes from simply just being a nice person. You're rather a nice guy or you're a nice girl, or you just simply have been punished too much in your life. And that has been me in my life as well. I've been a nice guy too much, bro. And that's basically a concept I like to call self-survival submission. Like I said, it used to be me and sometimes still is. But at one point, I did step out, bro. I stepped out of that, that echo chamber or those family ideological chains. It wasn't necessarily family, but just those normal ideological chains that my family had imposed, right? Not onto me, but imposed into themselves or had imposed onto them. I stepped up, bro. I stepped out. I stopped giving a single fuck about what anybody said, and I was just extreme. And I was just extreme as I wanted to be. But after some time, it felt like I had to let some of my personal standards down in order to spend time with the people I loved. Oh, I don't eat junk food, but my family's watching a movie eating junk food, so if I don't eat junk food with them, do I really love them? And the more I lowered my personal standards, the harder and harder it became to actually put them back up and keep them there. Because once you leave, it's almost the same as if you were to start off a date with a woman and buy her a $500 Gucci bag, or you meet a friend, or you have a client and you let that client call you at 6 a.m., 5 a.m., 5 p.m., 10 p.m. Once you let that happen, it's going to be almost impossible to say, hey, don't ever call me at this time again. Hey, I'm not going to buy you these things, right? That standard has been set for them. So they're going to say, oh, you're going to eat junk food with us? Then the next time you don't do it, I'm going to think of you as somebody who doesn't stick to the word. I'm going to think of you as somebody who's just switching too often and being a snake within our social hierarchy. And you don't want to be that. So you avoid it. You're going to let those boundaries down in order to spend the time that you want to spend with your family. And then you realize, damn, I just went against my whole philosophy. And in order to put it back up, you're going to be what? Breaking that ice, causing that conflict, and doing what you're not allowed to do. But it's hard. It's hard to put those boundaries back up and keep them there. Like I said, dog, there's no bouncing back and forth because you're going to create some crazy relationships, some toxicity, and people are not going to be, they're not going to know. They're going to look at you as a snake, bro. You're unpredictable. Do you eat junk food or do you not? Do you watch movies or do you not? Do you buy me Gucci bags or do you not? But with that in mind, we need to understand that we cannot just let that shit happen, bro. Because if we continuously, let our boundaries get crossed, we're going to start resenting ourselves, also resenting the individuals we let cross them. And do you want that to be your family members? Do you want that to be your loved one? Let us not allow our ambitions to be stifled just to fit into our tribes, in-groups, or digital echo chambers, bro, because you can still exist within them without having to sacrifice who you want to become and what you have to do or not do to get there. To close this section off, once you start to grasp or semi-master everything I covered in this video, your perceptions, your lack of self-shame, and the recognition behind your stifled ambition, you'll start to unlock what we all chase. A sense of clarity, which I'm glad to say I've been able to reach. But as crazy as this sounds, having clarity around your life and your goals is sometimes a dangerous place to be. This brings me to my final concept. Clarity complacency. This is a fallacy that I made up and could or could not already exist. Like I mentioned above, that at such a young age, I'm actually able to, have kind of a clear vision on my life and kind of what I want to do. I try not to brag about it because a lot of people that are 10, 30, 20 years ahead of me don't know what they want to do, so I kind of keep it on the D. But again, let's not get arrogant here. At least that's what I think, because even when I was 17, I thought I had a clear vision, and that vision has completely shifted. So for what I like to think, my vision is clear right now, but I also know things change really fast. And you probably can relate, bro. You know what you want to do business-wise. You probably be on your 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th business endeavor. You have no shortage of ideas, and you don't have the inability to get things started like most people do. With that gift of clarity, one thing that I realized is that you start to just live with a little bit less anxiety, because you just have less things to worry about. Oh yeah, I have my business set in stone already. I just gotta do these steps, and soon you'll get the results, most likely. Either way, that clarity that I've gained, and you've probably gained as well, has led me to have so much peace and ease that I actually sometimes lose that drive to get the fuck to work. It's comparable to a kid who woke up in a rich household. I didn't, obviously, but I'm rich with ideas, I'm rich with plans, I'm rich with organization, and I'm rich with execution. So I'm spoiled. But all that richness, so to speak, has led me to become complacent, dog. And this actually may be the reason why a lot of people don't do anything with their lives when it comes to building the one that they want to live. There are over like 30,000 business ideas out there, and at least 70% of the online population fall victim to them or cater their Instagram feeds to make it look like they're gonna start one day, when they never fucking will. It's not mental masturbation, it's mental sex. But they never do. And the only reason they never do, I think, is because we have too much options to take. A lot of us have too much choice to do. I want to do drop shipping. Do I want to become a YouTuber? Do I want to start stock trading? Like, there's so many options of businesses I want to do. Do I want to have an agency? Do I want to do SMMA? What do I want to do? Like, there's so many options. So I think one thing that Alex Hormozy touched on is that once you have too many options, you're not going to know what to take, and then you're just going to be anxious. A lot of us are anxious. But whichever it may be, could be the paralysis because there's so many ways to go, or it could just be pure laziness. A lot of people are just getting stripped of the adventure of life, bro, because everything is completely laid out for them. And that just causes them to stay in the same spot. That's all besides the point. My main argument here is that we need to start chasing clarity, but not absolutely. But that's all besides the point. My main argument here is that yes, we need to chase clarity, but not absolutely. What I've always been doing is just researching more business ideas, trying to get more knowledge to just rip myself of the clarity and just find more chaos to sift through. As of right now, I'm working at a car dealership, and I'll have to learn the direct sales skills. I have to get in front of people, give them good customer service, sign documents, learn about numbers, and kind of manipulate people to make a purchase. Not really make a purchase, but guide them through a sales process that is actually more beneficial for them down the road. But yeah, as I'm starting in this dealership now, dog, I'm just ripped of all the clarity I had before in my old corporate sales job at Visions Electronics. And even there, I wasn't even given the ability to sift through chaos because there was no fucking training. There was no documents for me to go through. I didn't even know what half of the shit meant, did, etc. So besides the point, strip yourself of the clarity as much as you can, bro, because clarity will cause you to become complacent. Always give yourself chaos to plow through at all times, dog, because I think that's when you're going to be the most happiest. If we're chasing happiness here, whatever. But this is basically my secret to stay working, to stay productive, is to just continuously chase chaos. Stop chasing clarity, chase adventure. Applying all of these new concepts into my life has actually been the best thing that I've ever did, and it's constantly been repeatedly pulling me out of the ruts and states of futility that I constantly fall into sometimes. And I'm hoping it can do the same for you. Apply these concepts, you're gonna get pulled out of the ruts, bro. And when you're living a futile life, a life where you don't feel like you're making the progress that you deserve to make as a man or a woman in this chaos of a world, then You'll be able to with these new concepts, bro. And I want to equip you with these tools and these mental frameworks to just make you understand that yes, all this shit is going to be overwhelming as it usually is and it's meant to be. And the fact that people can't understand that basic concept that it's never going to be happiness. It's never going to be peaceful, dog. Even when you're on the beach, a gust of wind is going to come, blow your drink out your hand, flip the books at the pages the way you don't want them to go. So there's always going to be chaos, bro. But without it, what would be the point? So, love you. Start off tomorrow strong, G. Peace.